HTML tutorial 4. We're gonna make a form today. It's gonna have some radio buttons, some checkboxes, some text fields, and a cool little submit button at the bottom. I'm using Atom, but you can use whatever you want. This is what we're gonna make. We got some radio buttons, some checkboxes, and then some text fields for input, and a nice submit button at the bottom. So let's go into our text editor, open up a new file and save it. We get our HTML template, lesson 4. And in the body, we're going to make a form tag. Let's start with a form with some kind of question. And then we're going to put an input tag. And inside of the input tag, we're going to put the attribute type equals radio. And this is going to make what we call a radio button, which is this little circular button here that you can select. The user's only going to be able to select one of these options. So you'll see here, if I click cat after having dog selected, then dog just becomes unselected. So the user can only click one option here because these are a group of radio buttons that are all grouped together. And they're grouped together with the name attributes. Let's go name equals animal, and then we'll put the text that's going to show up with this button option. And let's copy and paste that a couple times. You can say dog, cat, bird, or other. And if this form was actually connected to anything, if we had any kind of activity happening with it on the back end, we would have more stuff in here. But right now we're just making the front end HTML part of it. So it is a lot simpler. We should probably have some div tags in here too, which is something we haven't covered yet, because I think it's a lot easier to just learn div tags when you learn CSS. So for right now, we're just going to use some line breaks here to separate these different radio buttons. And let's put another line break up here just so dog shows up on the next line and looks a little bit tidier. And let's make the next question on the form. What activities are you interested in? And again, we're going to have an input tag. And inside of that input tag, we're going to put the type attribute. But this time, instead of radio, we're going to hit checkbox. And then let's say name equals sports for this button. Put the text that the user will see outside of the tag. And let's copy and paste this. Put some different options in. And now let's save and refresh this. We're going to do something to it after, but we're just going to see what it looks like right now. So here we have our 4 options, and we can select all of them this time. With the radio buttons, you could only select one of them. If you try and select another, then the last one just automatically goes away, but this time we can select all of them because we used checkboxes. And now we're going to go back to here. We'll give each checkbox option a different name. So this one was sports. Here we'll have music. Up here in the radio buttons, we use the same name for all of them because that creates a group of radio buttons, and then you can only select one of them. But with the checkboxes, we don't need to do that. We just give each of them their own name. And just to keep it tidy, we'll put some line breaks in again. Now let's make some text fields for first name, last name, age, and postal code. Again, we're going to put an input tag. And this time we're going to put type as text. And in front of the text field that we're making, we're going to want to put some text that says first name. And again, really we should have some more attributes in here. If we actually had any back end set up, then we would need those, or if we were doing any CSS. But we don't have a style sheet for this, and we don't have any back end. So for now, we're just gonna keep it simple. And let's save and refresh and see what this looks like right now. So there we have the field for our first name. Now let's put one in for the last name, the age, and postal code. Let's just copy and paste what we had for first name. And this time for input type, we're going to put number. Let's save and refresh again, and then we'll put postal code in after. And because we put number as the input type for the age, then if we try putting some text in here, like some letters, then that is not going to work. With text fields, you can put numbers in. But with number fields, you can't put letters in. And let's get the postal code. And we'll make this one a text field too. Save and refresh. And let's put a text area down here. We're going to use a text area tag. And inside of the opening tag, we're going to put a rows attribute. Let's put 25 and columns 80. So that'll be 25 rows of text that someone can put in with about 80 characters on each line. Let's save and refresh and see what that looks like on here. And that is obviously a little bit off. Let's put a line break in. So now tell us a bit about yourself will show up on its own line. And the last thing we're going to put in is a submit button at the bottom of the page. So when the user clicks submit, then the form is going to reset and clear. Again, if we actually had a backend set up, then this info would go somewhere and we would have more tags and more attributes in all of our tags. But for now, when we hit submit, then it's just going to clear and reset. Another input tag. And this time the type is going to be submit. And for a submit button, to get the submit text to show up on there, we have to type value equals, and then in double quotes, put submit. Save and refresh, and now we'll have a nice submit button at the bottom of our page. So now the user can select one animal, as many activities as they're interested in, put their name in here, age, postal code. And for age right now, you can enter any value in here. We could set a minimum and maximum value so that you can only put in a reasonable number for the age. So let's go back to that input tag. Inside of the input tag, we're going to put min equals 0 and max equals 150. So now if you try putting in a number like 155, then when you go to hit submit, then it's going to pop up here, value must be less than or equal to 150. And the user can put some text into the text box. And when you hit submit, then now it's just going to clear if we get this back down to a reasonable number. I don't know anyone that's 145 years old, but we'll say that's reasonable anyways. And then submit, and then the whole form just clears and resets.